I'm a dummy. Oh my lord. Okay, yeah, you clearly can tell that I do not stream at all. Now we're officially up and on the go. Golly.
Yeah,
I
now it's
thought I
showing
had
that
it
we're
down.
live.
All right, hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm so sorry. Oh my lord. Roll for Hero, episode 2. You gotta love the technical difficulties.
Hey,
Y'all can see
excuse
me
you,
now, right?
Fish. I hold on. I listen. I know we're about to go live and everything, but I'm getting blamed for this already by Fish. I will have you know that I was on time. Thank you.
He was.
My name's
He was.
TS, and I write comics, and I'm on time. Dang it!
Just like how he was able to get his pitch for The Digger that is currently out from Invader Comics. Make sure to pre-order it now while you have the opportunity. Go to your local comic shops. Get yourself The Digger.
That's right.
Oh my lord. Hey there, Philip Riders. How you doing, buddy? Hey, howdy, hey. I am so sorry, everybody. This is my first time kind of holding the show a little bit on my own accord here because Mr. Fish is currently out doing some familial-based adjacent things. He's on the road right now, and he's unable to, partake here. So we have T.S. Luther kind of standing in his position at the moment. So he's the new Mr. Fish.
That's right.
There's that. So sorry about that, everybody. I swear I'm not good at this streaming. I'm gonna figure this streaming stuff out later. But anyways. Ayo, hello. It's me, your weird uncle. Welcome to Roll for Heroes, segment of the show where we let the dice dictate what on God's screen we're going to be drawing today. So today we're going to be drawing an alien for, our characters of Jupiter Jack and Meteor Mandy. God, I literally had this whole spiel. I had this whole showman performance and it's just shot down. It's okay. It's okay. I'll self-deprecate later. It's how I cope, I think. I don't know if that's healthy or not. But you know what? We're not here for that. We're just here to try to see if we can get stuff done here. Anyways, outside of that, though, last episode, so I guess I'll probably recap if nobody saw that, which I don't blame anyone who hasn't. We have created the characters of Jupiter Jack and Meteor Mandy. These are of course, the proper superheroes for, of course, season 2, episode 1 of our show, where we finally got to show off these really cool character designs. And of course, you see that there's Jupiter Jack, this pulp style hero who can grow to the size of Jupiter and shooting energy, blast from his hands. And we have Meteor Mandy, who can literally shrink down to the size of like a comet or a meteor, zipping through the vast void of space. And of course, she herself can be shooting energy projections of like the heat waves of the comets or whatever that may be. But these are our characters. These are going to be like the main characters until we can draw some other cooler characters for later down the road. But yeah, these are the characters, and I can't wait to show off what kind of character we're going to be drawing today. So for any of y'all that are going to be following along, grab your dice, grab some variation of a writing utensil and a surface to draw on. And I believe it is time for us to properly and officially roll for hero, because I played the clip and I feel bad now. Oh, God, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I shoot myself in the foot a lot. It is not a healthy habit, but that is fine. It's okay. So right now we happen to have the entire list of traits that we're going to be going off of, and we're just going to see how this all kind of turns out. So without further ado, let us actually begin the process and roll things out. All right, ready? T.S. Luther, I'm going to need you to start using some of that brain cells that you got going on there. I know you're probably frying them up, shooting those ideas out to Invader Comics, but I'm going to need you right now, all right? Please. Starting off with the first roll, we got number 8, which is, for limbs, we have the number of limbs, which is tentacles. Oh, and we're going to have to roll an additional D6, and we're going to add 2. That's going to be interesting. Okay, that's interesting.
How many tentacles?
We got 7 tentacles.
All right.
So we have an alien that already happens to have a very large number of limbs, that being 7 whole, tentacle adjacent limbs. So we'll see how we can try to incorporate that to the best of our abilities. Now we happen to have the body shape. So we're going to see what kind of body these tentacles are attached to. Let us begin the rolling process. And we get 7, which is humanoid, a proper baseline human shape.
Alrighty.
All right. What are you thinking there, TS? How are you thinking this is starting to form up?
So humanoid with tentacles, I want to see something that is closer to Ben Sapien from Hellboy, that like very fish-like is what comes to mind, because then you can easily sell tentacles. When you have something terrestrial, something that's going to be on ground, and then you give them tentacles, it's like, why would you have tentacles if you're walking around? You need tentacles in the water. So I'm thinking something aquatic.
Alrighty, so now we have the basic body shape. Now we have the amount of eyes this character will have, this alien species will have. Fish is on the highway coming back from seeing the grandbabies. Hey, listen, you got to visit them grandbabies. My parents would know. They happen to be grandparents as well. We have numero ocho, which is 6 whole eyes. I don't know what half an eye would look like, but that'd be kind of weird. Alrighty, and let's get to it. So we have eye shape. All right, so this is me getting super technical with it. So we're gonna see what kind of like shapes the eyes are. So we have 6 eyes, but what kind of shape do they look like? We have Evelyn, which is eyes on flexible stalks.
Okay, so like the crab stalk eyes. I gotcha.
Okay. Now I can't tell if this is supposed to be some evil warlord or maybe like a friend or an ally for Jupiter Jack and Meteor Mandy. Like I can see this guy or this character in particular being like some kind of like the middle ground man. You know, he's there for good. He works and he's in the middle. He's not good. He's not bad.
I was gonna say, yeah, you gotta have a great character. If someone has eye stalks and 7 tentacles, they got their hands in all the pots. You know, it's like sometimes they're gonna help unless it's not helpful for them, and then maybe you're too hot. Maybe you got too much of the Imperial Armada on you, so then you need to pull back, and I can't help you around this time, friend. Like that's, you gotta have that gray alien that sometimes they're helping, sometimes they're hindering. Especially if they have 7 tentacles.
And speaking of gray, because that's usually tend to be what their skin tone is like. But speaking of skin, we're actually going to be diving into skin texture, their external kind of vibe. This might actually give off the idea of how they are able to wear clothing or what, their overall appearance is just going to be in general. Because sure, you can have someone like the Thing being like an alien rock-like guy, but then sometimes you can literally have a squid alien man. And I mean, we got an entire, squid motif going on as it is here. That gets them superhero gigs. Hey, that's just how it be. All right, so now we're gonna go for skin, and we got numero siete again. We got scaled skin.
Scaled, okay.
Interesting. What are y'all rolling up? What are y'all ending up with? Because let us know. Shout out in the comments, everybody. We'd love to see it all in the chat. Again, I am so sorry for the intro of this, but that's neither here nor there. We're gonna actually begin now. So we got that on the way. If anyone wants to take a 5-second look to check out the thing with the thing, because I know how to English. Beautiful. We're here for it. We love it. All right. Now we have skin color. Now we could roll for this one, or Luther, would you like to probably give some color suggestions, or would you rather me roll for it?
I think you should roll for it, because that's the chaos of this show. Like you need to have, if you're either going to be full random or we're fully writing it. So let the dice decide.
Oh my gosh, this is why we had you on the show. And speaking of having to roll it out, man, it is going to be a number 5, which is patterned spots and stripes.
All right. It fits with the scale idea too. Like if you have this gray alien, this somebody who is playing all the different sides. They're scaly. They got tentacles and everything, both the illegal and the legal. Then the pattern and the stripes, you never know which way they're gonna be. You never know where they're coming from.
Maybe like the scales can kind of flip in one direction. So maybe it's like he'll be say green and purple on one side of it, but then the other side it ends up becoming like blue and or like a cyan and red or something like that.
Exactly.
This is getting pretty interesting. I'm liking it so far. So we got that on the go. Now we have head shape. I really did not have these in order, but that's okay. These lists, that's the whole point. We're so random, we can't try to figure out how this is all working, like Diamondback Snake. That is some insanity. And you are right. TS is the man, Mr. Fish. That's why he's on this show.
That's why I make the big bucks. So go and pre-order the Digger, not for me, but for all of the extra coffers. All the money that I earn from it will go directly into comic books. Let's be honest. I'm going to buy more comic books.
And I mean, if it goes into comic books, this means it goes into the hands of artists. And well, I mean, in his case, he is the writer. But get yourself the Digger. Go get yourself Hellion and Bash. Go get yourself, Tokyo Fire. If you ever have the ability to get it now, because I said so. And your uncle would be very disappointed if you don't get it. Let the chaos roll with this character because you guys are absolutely creating something awesome. Yes, Philip, we are. And by the way, never apologize again. You don't have to apologize because I see your apologies and you don't got to worry about nothing. And speaking of, whatever, horrible transition aside, head shape, we are going for, which is number, because that's 4, 7 again, a humanoid head.
Humanoid head. Got it. But with the stalks.
The stalks. Oh God, that is some weird Lovecraftian thing. Unless we want to do another roll.
No, don't you be doing that.
All right. Fine. So that's what we got for head shape. Now we got mouth. The different kind of mouth for this alien squid scaly man thing. Gotta love it. And the type of mouth that we have is a sonic emitter instead of vocal cords.
All right.
All right.
Do you think that he stole the emitter, or do you think that he acquired it through trade?
Oh, had to steal it for sure, but it was probably for a justifiable reason. Maybe, this morally great character maybe he was captured, and in order for him to communicate with another alien to help him out in his intrepid situation, he had to find a way to communicate. So if he had to steal a communicator and this emitter, if you will, to help, take out, what he's trying to say, I feel like he would have to steal it, but it would be for a justifiable thing. Again, morally gray. Let the chaos reign. All right, so we got the sonic emitter. Now we have the special biological trait.
Howdy, doggone.
Hey, howdy, hey, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the stream. So sorry about the technical difficulties, but that is neither here nor there. I can already see my character. Stupid highway. Hey, listen. I can't relate as to what highway you're on because I would say Highway 280 in Alabama and the 95 in Florida, but I don't know what it is in Arkansas.
We don't have roads in Arkansas.
Oh, man. That's tough. Yeah, Florida is just the worst, especially this time of the year, because everyone wants to go to the parks. And
yeah, how dare they use parks and recreations?
All righty. Oh, and I got a friend of mine popping on in. Anyways, hold on a second. So now we got to get ourselves back into action over here. We got the special biological traits that we just rolled for, and that is going to be numero ocho, electromagnetic or electrical organs. Electromagnetic or electric, because I know how to spell and read. And I want to make comics for a living. How ironic.
This is a weird one. All right, so electromagnetic organs. I got to figure out how to show that visually.
Sometimes it can't be shown visually. It's more like it's kind of good to know that kind of a thing. Like, say, for instance, if this character ever gets shot and you just see like a blob of electricity just kind of just shooting out of them or whatever. Anyways, so that's what we got for biological trait here. A shock snake. Interesting. All right, now we have cultural traits. So this is going to be a little bit. This is throw after throw after. There's like curveball after curveball, man. All right, what do we got going on for cultural traits? Because this is, I'm telling you, these lists are definitely breaking each other's conventions here. We got number 6, which is what's it called? Technocracy?
Technocracy. That makes sense. Morally great character that had to pull off some dubious things for good reasons to get this babblefish-like device to speak again. Coming from a culture of technocracy means that they would fit in very well in a third-party system where they need to wheel and deal, where maybe there are other cultures at play. I think that works out really well with what we got here.
All right, so we have 2 more lists left. We have ability theme. So if they happen to have any variation of ability, it would be thematically tied to this. And then there's another one called alien quirk. So let's just go full-blown chaotic on this one. We're just gonna do our final 2 rolls, and we're gonna get to this. Man, I feel like this is just already a very elongated portion of just rolling all of this out, man. This is getting to the Pacifics here. And we have number 5, which is shape-shifting. This is getting interesting.
So I'm just going to draw a dog, and we're going to assume that he is shapeshifted. So I can draw a dog. You're welcome.
Man, the intricacies of that design, I can only imagine. Sounds like a hustler or a smuggler. You're not wrong. I mean, the concept of that would very much sound like it would be some kind of a smuggler adjacent character. Just made my own new superhero. He's my version of Captain. Ideas. It's really, really difficult for a lot of, well, it's not difficult because patriotic heroes are a lot of fun. But before we get to naming
Indiana.
I mean, there you go. I guess you didn't need my help there. All right, last one, ability. Oh, wait, I lied. Last one, alien quirk. We got number 6, which is 2 hearts or redundant organs.
So redundant electromagnetic organs.
Exactly.
Which makes sense for a shapeshifter. You would always have extras. That's the thing. Like most shapeshifters, you can go back to like Mr. Plastic or Mr. Plastic Man, the Elongated Man, and a few other ones that are like really shapeshifty. Mr. Fantastic has done it before, which is the redundant organs. So if you do get taken out, Mr. Fantastic dies in this issue. 6 issues later, he's like, aha, see, I had 2 hearts, or I had moved it over here. Really, really common thing to do. It's kind of like how if you're a speedster in a comic, no speedster should ever be surprised. You should go and scout out everything that you do beforehand. You got to take that, the suspension of disbelief a little bit. Same thing goes for shapeshifters. You should never be able to die because any injury you have, you should be able to have a backup, thing for you. So this makes sense. And he's wheeling and dealing, right? Like he's dealing with some morally great people as well. If you're doing illegal deals, you got to be ready for some stuff to go down. And it's not always going to go down the way that you want. Doctor Who, the 2 hearts, exactly. You got to be able to fake your death, right? Like let them shoot you. They run away and then you pop back up going, oh, I'm glad I grew that second heart, It's
Mr. Plastic to the public, Plastic Man for his friends. Ooh, know that. All right, but now we're gonna get into the actual intricate part of draw, or at least I'm gonna be showing it off. I don't know if you're probably gonna just do your own thing there.
It depends on how good this ends up looking. I've been drawing as we went, and so like I'm erasing a lot and trying to pivot as it was like, and now he's got electromagnetic organs. I'm like, okay, let's go. Okay, I have enough for tentacles. Oh, 7 of them. Okay, sure. Where else can I fit in another?
That's what I love about this show. It is curveball after curveball after curveball. We are just all over the place. That's the whole point of Roll for Hero. The dice have dictated that we are drawing something weird, chaotic, and absolutely insane. So let me see here, because we happen to have a human-shaped body. So I'm going to probably draw like a human. Now you see, this is where it can get interesting, right? Because we could do a dude, and that would feel like the right kind of justifiable character, but I always like to kind of sometimes pivot away from that and be like, what if it was like a more feminine alien, if you will? Still
Mine's
very laggy.
definitely like gender fluid. You're never going to be able to pin this thing down because they don't want you to. They have their own way that they recognize and how they identify, but to the public, they are just this alien because everything else is private. You can't have too much of your public persona known because then you're going to have a hard time doing business. If you're trying to wheel and deal on both sides, you can't have everybody knowing what you're actually about. So it depends on who you're in the room with.
True, but let me try to. This is gonna be a little difficult. Let me see. Okay, so humanoid body.
I had to count my tentacles and make sure I didn't give them too many.
Yeah, no, that's how. That's what I'm having to contemplate right now. Okay, and then not only they have a humanoid head with 6 eye stalks.
They have 6 eye stalks. I thought we had 2 eye stalks. I missed that incorrectly.
No, oh no. So they have no. So they have 6 eyes, but eye stalks as well.
Oh yeah, but I didn't know they had 6 eyes. I thought it was number 6 was just eye stalks. I didn't know you rolled for how many. Okay, hold on. I gotta pivot again. We gotta add more eye stalks here.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh man. All right. Let me see, because then it's also a humanoid shape.
Well, that's even better for like a shapeshifter because you can never sneak up on them as they're doing their legal and illegal deals. They're always watching from somewhere.
Man, okay, I gotta see how I can make this work. Oh man, this one's gonna be drawing this character would be a pain in the butt over and over and over again. I tell you what.
Yeah, there's a lot of appendages that you'd have to fit into every panel.
Well, unless you're able to like somehow work with it. I mean, I remember reading this one sci-fi comic on Webtoons called The Runners, and in it he does. It's like I don't even know how to probably describe it, but basically you're following like a team of like smuggler kind of characters as they kind of smuggle like just average goods across the galaxy, if you will. But like it's obviously they're like under the table kind of services. Sure. But the whole crew is primarily like just proper like whacked out looking aliens, like, and there's 1 or 2 like proper human looking characters, but the human characters aren't the main ones. They're actually like the side characters. Sure. That's what I liked about it. Because it was like finally a science fiction comic where I can actually indulge with the aliens and not just with the human characters. Don't get me wrong, I love my human characters in my comics for sure. But like getting to see the captain of the ship be an alien guy and not some weird, not just some generic, token white dude from, probably South Dakota or whatever. It's right. Nice. It's a little reassuring. No offense to anyone from South Dakota.
That's what I liked about Lower Decks, and I forget the name of the Star Trek show that was kind of aimed towards kids that was on Nickelodeon for a little while, but like mostly aliens. So I always enjoy when they pivot like that.
And they're shape-shifting. So I can imagine these eye stalks kind of retract a little bit. So I feel like they would have some kind of a, like, I don't know why I'm making this thing look like a weird, like, knockoff Pinhead looking thing. Is that what he's called? Pinhead? No.
Pinhead is the character from Hellraiser. You're correct.
Okay. I don't do horror. That's why. But the only horror that I will ever watch is the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff because my future wife is such a huge FNAF fan.
Oh, nice.
Even played the VR game without flinching. Without flinching. All right. Do you know how crazy you have to be to do that entire game without flinching? Very crazy. I'm into some very strange. I am very into this strange woman. Thank God I put a ring on her.
You gotta.
I mean, I have to.
My wife only recently started to get into more horror stuff. I've always been a big horror fan. And, well, not always, but since I've been an adult. And so she slowly has come across, and now she's really falling in love with it, especially horror comics. And it's been a wild ride seeing her. Like, now her favorite is James Tynion. It used to be me. I was her favorite comic book writer. And now it's James Tynion for, like, Something Is Killing the Children and all of his other numerous horror series. And it's been really interesting to see her journey to opening up to watching more horror stuff. And I always have to be careful because sometimes it's just a little too scary, and we dive into it. So I watch everything first. I watch every horror movie twice, once by myself to see if she can handle it, and then the second time with her if she can handle it.
Okay. Interesting. That is really, really interesting stuff. Sorry, I'm also like so zoned in right now on my design here.
I get it.
This
You hate me and want me to stop talking, but here's the thingy: I won't. You can't silence me. That's why I'm the new Mr. Fish.
man, turns out you really are the big fish in the small pond of indie comics.
That's right.
That's exactly how I described them last time,
Is,
last
is
episode. The big
he
fish in
is
the little pond of indie comics. I mean, it kind of works out well. Dang. Okay, so I feel like I had something going on here. I just don't know how to. That head shape is really going to throw me off a lot. Ah. Alrighty then. I used to be a big horror fan, but once I went, whoop.
So you show off my general shape here.
Oh, I
We
like
went the
what I
same with
see.
the eye stalks, so like the same kind of ratio. I got to add a sixth one somewhere. I think I'm gonna do like the side of the head probably, but
Oh man, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, because I'm still trying to figure out how to make this work. So it's also the 7 tentacle parts that really is throwing me off as well. I could probably make it like a tail, you know?
yeah, a tail would have been smarter than just an extra one on their shoulder. But I'm gonna stand by that decision because that's where I would put one. Because I'm not a smart man, I'd be a terrible shapeshifter. I would just always be like my dog or a monkey because that's what the first thing that would come to my mind. And I'm not Beast Boy; I can shapeshift into anything, but that's what I would do.
Man, imagine actually having Beast Boy's powers. That'd be insane.
Turn his mouth and shake. Listen, that's you told me this morning. You're like, "Hey, I need you to fill in for me on this show," and I said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna yap."
And yap,
That's
he
what I would
shall
do.
do.
That's right.
Especially since the fact that he's like having to mention his comics like The Digger, you know, and as well as Hellion and Bash and all of his other fun stuff like Tokyo Fire, which you should totally go get, you know, like and pre-order The Digger and all that other kind of fun stuff. Like
If you
also how
want to
you
check out, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your sentence. You got this.
because I was really going to mention too. I mean, on top of getting, you know, some of TS's awesome works, you should also apprehend yourself Alice Lost in Wonderland, which is actually the combined efforts of Mr. Fish and, of course, TS himself. TS using his ultimate writing skills, and of course, Mr. Fish with his fantastically wondrous forms of art, kind of coming into the strange, awesome, cracked out hybrid of a crazy fantasy story of everything else that you can ever imagine. I happen to have the fortune to apprehend 3 issues of Alice Lost in Wonderland. Not only that, but also Green Zone, T-Man, and Hyperstrike, as well as I feel like there's another title that The Mighty Caller Cro-Magnon. Never forgot that
There
one
you
because that
go.
one's
You
actually one of
nailed
my
it.
favorite ones by far. That, in my opinion, that's one of my favorite series by far to read, and I can't wait to see what else the call has to go through.
The
But you should
first
totally
check I ever
get
got in indie comics actually came from the Mighty Caw universe. I had written a short story for Mr. Fish's anthology, Fish Tales, and it was in that
Yes, I
universe.
have
That's
that too.
the first time. Yeah, man. I think what was it called? The Crucible. And he's, of course, in classic Mr. Fish fashion, he split up the story into 2 parts, and it was going to be in Fish Tales Volume 3, and there will be no Fish Tales Volume 3 for a while. So people are just left hanging. They'll never see my genius of what happens in the Crucible Part 2.
Oh man, that sucks.
Oh, I love that tentacle on the head that he uses like a scarf. That is wonderful. That is genius.
Interesting. And then it's also the head shape that I have to figure out too, because it's like it's a humanoid head that has 6 eyes and they're all eye stalks. Now I'm just trying to go at this with the idea of like simplifying the design, making sure that it's not overly complicated. Because again, if I want this character to be drawn and whatnot, I got to see how this works out. So like, if you were to pair this up with Jupiter Jack and Meteor Mandy, like what would you think their interactions would be like?
Well, I think it would be the guy they don't want to deal with, but they have to. Or it's like, we're gonna go have to talk to X alien because we need to get this thing, and he's just a little bit sketchy, and we need someone a little bit sketchy to get this item or this MacGuffin or wherever we need to go. We need to secure passage off planet, and he's the only one who's going to be able to get us there. So it's the guy that they don't want to talk to, but they kind of have to. I think that's the role that they would fill in.
Okay. And I think I have an idea. So like, it's coming together. It's coming together. Just trying to still figure out how to make this work. And I like the idea. Which one of y'all mentioned it? Was it like having the tentacle be like a scarf, kind of like that one Pokemon that uses its tongue like a scarf?
Yes. What is the name of that one?
It's I weirdly enough never grew up watching
Its
Pokemon.
move is Water Shuriken. Because my son is a giant Pokemon fan, and we played a lot, but I don't remember the name. Because I'm a dad, I don't remember anything anymore. Greninja is the name of that Pokemon.
Greninja. I knew Ninja was in the name. I just didn't know like if it was a I didn't know the proper name for it. What is it called? What do you think about Netflix just won the bidding war for Warner Brothers? Ooh.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. Any monopoly is bad for consumers. That's always going to be a bad thing. Best case scenario, we get nothing changing for DC Studios. As someone who writes comics, and I'd love to write for DC, I think if they keep everything business as usual, Jim Lee is killing it, James Gunn is killing it, Peter Safran is killing it. I think that if they could leave that be, I'd be happy. The big issue with Netflix buying anything and monopolizing stuff, like the issue you're going to run into specifically with Netflix, is Ted Sarandos, the CEO of Netflix, does not like movie theaters. And where we are with CEOs, they get to make the final decision. So you're going to see smaller release windows for the majority. I think Warner Bros. Had something like 35% of all releases in theaters last year, at least in the US. So you're going to see so many more movies just not being in theaters for very long in a market that's already having a hard time. We're already having a hard time keeping theaters open. So it's bad for everybody in the long run, except for people who only want to watch TV at home. So there's that. I think if we talk about good things, I think you're going to see more DC properties on TV because Netflix pushes TV really, really well. So I think you're going to see some really good stuff there. I think you're going to see more of the squeezing of a lot of the properties that you already probably want to see more of, like Game of Thrones and The Sopranos and stuff like that, because one of the reasons why Netflix specifically was buying Warner Brothers is to have a deeper well of IP. So they're going to make use of it for sure. So don't be surprised if you're seeing spinoffs of shows that you never thought you would have seen, like some sort of kids show for The Sopranos, something weird like that. They're going to push it. Nope, Netflix, Paramount are in the bidding war. Disney is about to enter it. Exactly. Yeah, it's not set in stone. And even if somebody does win this, like what was happening with Netflix when we thought it was set in stone, it still has to be approved by the federal government. It still has to get through regulators, not just for the U.S. federal government, but across the board internationally, because these are all international companies. So nothing's set in stone. We don't know where it's going to shake out. And in the end, a giant company is buying another giant company, which is rough for people, and we don't really get to have a say. But make sure you talk about it, because the more you talk about being upset that monopolies are happening, the harder it is for the next one. So we might not be able to stop this, but we can make it harder the next time some giant corporation wants to buy another giant corporation. End rant.
Use your nerd-like rage to destroy the monopolies, so that way the free market for entertainment and the indie comic shall rise.
Exactly.
More or less. All right, I think I have an idea where I'm going with this. I kind of like it a little bit, because I'm thinking bounty hunter. When I think bounty hunters, I think Western cowboy kind of characters for some reason.
Sure.
So I'm thinking about this, and I see like how I'm implementing the... Oh wait, using that as a tail. Okay, so thank God I'm kind of... Or use it as
You
like
don't think of Dog the Bounty Hunter when you think of bounty hunters? I'm too old. Philip Walters says, what are your thoughts on DC's Absolute Universe and Marvel's Ultimate Universe as a comic fan and writer? I love the Absolute Universe and I love the Ultimate Universe. Both are amazing. E, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say I haven't read any of the Absolute books yet.
You're missing it. It's so
but good. I will say, as a big Spider-Man fan, because I will say I've probably done a lot more Spider-Man knockoff videos on my channel. So obviously it kind of goes to show you that I am a huge Spider-Man junkie, just as much as I am for Daredevil. But getting to see Peter Parker finally have a wife, kids, him actually trying to seek purpose, and the fact that him being Spider-Man is kind of like that fulfillment is like finally kind of a moment,
Yeah.
you know? Because I know that we're never
1,000%
going to get
agree.
that in the mainline continuity. It's just going to be overly complicated. It's just like, it's just too much.
Exactly. So like I've also loved that from the Ultimate. I love everything from the Ultimate Universe, but that specifically for Spider-Man has been fun. I like that it showed the consequences, and I think that it is a perfect blueprint to show that that doesn't have to be the end of Spider-Man's story, which is that idea in the 616 is that he can't do it because he can't move on, because that would ruin the readership or something. I love that, especially as someone who can relate to having a family and trying to do something new with his life. The book hit really, really close to home. So I absolutely adored it. I love that the Ultimate Universe is coming to an end. I think that that's really rad that they didn't overplay their hand with it, which is really cool. On the Absolute side, I love that they're not bringing that to an end and they're just going full force into it. I love that everything in the Absolute Universe is just bigger and badder and weirder and crazier, and that's the whole ethos of that universe. I think that that's really, really cool. There's not a single book from either universe that I don't love right now, which has been a while. I love these like little microcosms that we're getting, these almost smaller imprints. It's the same reason why I love the Energon universe and the Massive Verse, both from Image. I don't have time to pick up 55 titles from a main universe and read all of them and understand what's going on. And even though both of them have expanded, exponentially, it hasn't reached that level yet. So I can keep up with everything in the whole universe by just picking up a handful of titles. So as somebody who only has so much money to put towards comic books, I've enjoyed that it's this like little microcosm that I can watch the entire thing unfold. I still pick up as many books as I can, and I more subscribe to DC Universe and Marvel Unlimited, so I get everything a little bit late. But it's still been really rad, and I'm like really excited to start seeing those properties cross over more with like the Ultimate storyline as it comes to an end. And I forget the name of the Absolute Justice League book, but their Absolute team up has been really cool too. So I can't say anything other than it's been my favorite. And Absolute Batman Annual by Daniel Warren Johnson is single-handedly my favorite comic book I think ever, other than Superman crushes the Klan. I can't think of the name because I'm bad with name. What is the name of the Superman fighting the Ku Klux Klan book?
I think it was Superman Smashes the Klan. I think you're right.
Smashes the Klan. Thank you. Yes, I think I said crashes the Klan. Yeah, but Superman Smashes the Klan. And DWJ hit on the same stuff, and I absolutely loved the annual. Bought 1,000 shares of Warner, and I've made at least $4,000 in about 4 days. That's crazy, dude. Good for you.
Really like hearing some of these very interesting points. Now, what are your thoughts on the design of Absolute Joker?
So, like, just design alone, I love it. I love the idea behind all of the bad guys being like these supernatural entities in the Absolute Universe. I think it really fits. I love the design. I know a lot of people are upset about it, but it's the thing that I talk about a lot when it comes to me liking reboots and remasters and sequels from 20 years later on. It doesn't ruin my childhood when you drastically change something like that, because I still have Joker in the main universe. I can still go back to the thing that I love, the thing that I've read so many stories of. They didn't get rid of it. This is their own take. It's their new thing. And I really dig how weird they've gotten with Absolute Joker. So I do enjoy the design. That might be a hot take. I'm not sure. I've seen the discourse a little bit, but I haven't paid attention to what's been winning out. So that's my take, is that I dig it, and I like how weird it is. It makes me uncomfortable, and I think that that's a really interesting take for the Joker. I think making the Joker just hot and kind of a bad guy that people want to sympathize with misses the point a little bit with the Joker. He's a bad guy, and I think making him a literal demon does a good job with that. It's nice to know that Batman.
Yeah, it makes sense too, because I mean, for one, Joker he's one of the most disgusting, if we had to look at it from a realistic perspective, he's one of the worst scumbags of the earth. Makes him one of the best villains of all time. And respectively, he should look like how he is supposed to be portrayed, which is like that of a mess.
Right.
But again, he does look like the proper adversary to this Batman, who is freaking 7 feet tall, having to be built like a brick house. Literally, they called him, the fans, y'all call him Bat Brick because of the logo on his chest.
Exactly. I think that he's a perfect counterpoint to that, and everything in this universe is just more. So I think that it's rad. It's meant to be an absolute different version. That's the whole point, and the only way to go with this one is Elon Musk meets a demon. I completely agree. I love that. It's such a simple idea of, okay, Batman's poor and Joker's rich. I like that ethos. That's a connection I can make, because that has been a disconnect for me when reading Batman. It worked as a kid with the wish fulfillment of, I wish I was rich, so I'm gonna, look at Batman with this wish fulfillment. But if I'm trying to see myself in a character, I don't see a lot of myself in Batman. He's a rich, billionaire, philanthropist, playboy. Those are none of the things that I am. So having absolute Batman be from the street, quite literally, is something that I can relate to and see myself in and see these struggles. And having Joker be the antithesis of that, I think works really well. I love that idea.
Oh yeah, that is one of the most interesting aspects of the Absolute Universe too. I mean, also it's the fact that like it takes away a key aspect of the characters as well. Like for Batman, they took away his wealth and the trauma that he went through, and they gave him newer trauma, but he's now right. Like they took away something, give something back. But in Superman's case, they took away his humanity because he grew up on Krypton as it was being destroyed. And then for Wonder Woman, it's the fact that she was not born at the Mascara, or like she wasn't raised on there, but she was raised in hell. So it's a really different rendition of each of the characters, really showing how they're able to be, like how they're being implemented, how their stories change just by one, factor being changed. And that's what's very interesting about it. And if I ever had the ability to do that with myself, oh man, like the Unbeatables would be very interesting. Getting to see Absolute Rocket Fist would be insane. Absolute Emerald Turtle.
I got to pitch a story recently to an artist I love, Joe Gundam. Shout out to Joe Gundam if you guys know Knife Bus. I got to pitch Absolute Knife Bus recently, which is just more knife, more bus. I did 2 knives, and he's a double-decker bus instead. So if you get the chance to look up Joe Gundam and Knife Bus, please do, and look out for Absolute Knife Bus. If I get accepted, I don't know if they're going to buy it, but the absolute of anything, the absolute pitch, I think is so cool that we now have that, because for a long time it was, what's the Ultimate Universe version? I love that DC finally has that. I know they kind of played around with it a little bit back during the White Knight from Sean Murphy, which I also love. Sean Murphy, I love the White Knight, I love all of his art and his writing in that, but it was such a specific take, and I don't know if I would have enjoyed it expanded to the entire DC universe. We never got a chance, but originally he was pitching that as his Ultimate Universe for DC, and I think Absolute might have worked just a little bit better for being just a little bit more extreme with the changes. Absolute Martian Manhunter is the wackiest, wonkiest, and the most fun of all. It's just Lynchian. Like it is such a weird take, such a different take on Martian Manhunter that I love it. I'd love to see an Absolute Aquaman. Me too. I want to know what that would be. I don't even have an idea for that. I just would like to see where they go with it. And they could be clustered together, acting like a single eye. Oh yeah, like what's the D&D monster?
Beholder.
The Beholder. Thank you. Yeah, it's exactly like the Beholder. Did you ever see Big Trouble in Little China?
Like a long time ago. There's probably probably 10 years ago.
I mean, so that's one of my favorite movies. It's a John Carpenter movie, and he just straight up has a beholder in it. In this weird, wacky martial arts film, there's just a random beholder at the end of the film, and that has the similar eye stalks. Like I dig that, man.
Yeah, the way that I'm kind of going about it, that she's like a lady, like a galactic lady, kind of a bounty hunter. Is like, oh, darling.
Galactic Lady is going to be the name of my next EP.
Oh man! And here I thought I had something original.
No, I straight up stole it from you. So don't.
Come on! Like 2 single separate eyes. Okay, interesting. So yeah, this is what I kind of got so far. I'm working with the eye stalks to the best of my abilities. Did I ever plan on drawing this today? Absolutely not. But I'm glad I did do it. I guess.
It's funny that this is what we rolled up, because this is exactly what I planned on drawing today. So it really worked out for me.
Listen, I get that you think you're better than me in every way. Oh, look at me. I happen to write multiple comics. I actually have them printed out. I have UTS. I work with Mr. I get it. You're better than me, good sir. You don't have to flash it out there. For
I
legality
think
reasons, this is the joke. I
my
don't have any hatred.
I think the main superpower I have over you and why I'm able to do the things I do is I'm almost 40. So I have all of the experience of being exactly where you are right now and learning from all of it. I don't think I could do nearly as much as what you do right now if I was still in my 20s. Like, I think that you're doing a great job, and I think that you still have a lot of time. The reason why I do so much is because my time is running out, buddy. And there's only so much time left, so I got to get to work. I did a full-on pivot from, I used to write about car parts, and I wrote about car parts for almost a decade for large automotive companies. And when I was 28, I quit. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go make comic books. And it was a bad decision. And I've been riding that wave ever since. So I think that you're doing awesome, and you're doing everything at your own pace. So you still know that you got time. Sorry, we got so serious there for a second.
No, you're good. Trust me. No, I was also like honing in on this. I was also going to mention too. I mean, also you got to have a very supportive wife, and of course your family to kind of be the major motivating factor. I would assume. But
I don't think I could do it if I didn't have my kids. Because, like, before I met my wife, I lived in a van, and I played Magic the Gathering cards, and I ate chicken wings. And those were the three things that I did. And that was my whole life. And when I met this girl, she was beautiful, and she did not want to live in a van and just play Magic the Gathering and eat chicken wings. So I was like, well, I need to do stuff for her so she can have things, because she's wonderful and I want her to stay around me. So I went and got a boring job, and I did that stuff. And then we had kids, and I never wanted them to have to live in a van. I still buy them chicken wings, but I wanted them to have other stuff too if they wanted. And so I got a better job, and I kept doing that. And for the first time during COVID, was right around when I started writing comics, I did something for myself. I wanted something more. I didn't just want stuff for them. I wanted something for myself, and that was comic books. And ever since then, I've been trying to make almost every decision I can past keeping my family safe and fed and happy towards making comic books. So it took a lot of time and responsibility and motivation in having them. I couldn't do any of this stuff if it wasn't for them, because I want them to have stuff. I want to do it well. I want to impress them. I want them to be proud of me. Before I had them, I didn't want anything, man. So it's almost like a cheat code having these people that depend on you, and that you don't want to let down, because they make you want to be better, and they make you want to do a good job.
man, you're not wrong there, especially with the future wifage on my side of things. I mean, she's a baker too, so her and I are also like motivating each other. She's a baker. I'm an artist. We both deal in the realms of art. It's just that for hers, I can eat her kind of art. She can't really do that with mine.
She should not eat your art.
No.
I can say that almost definitively, that she should not eat your art.
I mean,
But
I was
also,
able to.
I'm not her mom.
She's
She's got to do what she's got
Not
to do.
many people can say that they ate a chocolate dragon on their birthday. So
I can tell you that I did not eat a chocolate dragon on my birthday, but I'm jealous that I didn't.
and that's why I win, at least on that.
I would love to see an Absolute Shazam. Absolute Zatanna is super badass. Absolute Jupiter Jack. Oh man, like what is the pitch for Jupiter Jack? Can you hit me with the? I know obviously it's a I keep wanting to say Gordon Lightfoot. That's the dude who did the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, Flash Gordon type hero.
Yeah. So Jupiter Jack, Meteor Mandy. Think of it like, he's a classic sci-fi pulp hero at first. He's just your run-of-the-mill average dude with a laser gun, but then one event ends up occurring. But what's it called? The cosmic. I had the name for this too. What was it? It started with a C. It was the Cosmic Coalition. That's the word. The Cosmic Coalition didn't want Jupiter Jack to go on this mission all roguelike. So they got him this, cosmic cadet by the name of Mandy, who ends up going on this little excursion with him. Turns out it happens to be some evil alien warlord who is about to rain terror on innocent civilians of these aliens from one planet. And it turns out that there was some cosmic wave of energies just moving on in. So Jupiter Jack, Meteor Mandy go straight in, try to save them, and that's how they more or less get their powers. They get hit by the ray gun that was supposed to kill them, but they were affected by the cosmic rays. they get their powers, and now there are these cosmic heroes just now fighting for all that is good in the known universe.
Okay. Okay, so what's the absolute version of that?
So then, what is it that they would be taken? What has to be taken away then in order for this to be an absolute? Because absolute, we were just saying in the absolute universe, something had to be taken away. Superman's.
I think he never got into the academy. He never made it to become part of that. So he never was part of the system to be then pushed out of it. He never made it into the system. So he's always been the vigilante type. I think that's where you have to start from. I don't know where you can go from there, but that's the one thing I can see you taking him away without getting rid of what was Mandy's name?
Meteor Mandy.
Meteor Mandy, yeah, without taking away Meteor Mandy, you know what I mean, or vice versa, right? You have them the outside looking in to the system. But again, what do I know? I write What If Indiana Jones Hunted Short Round, so my pitching skills are not always top notch.
I mean, that's actually the best, shortest concept one can go off of. Again, we have yet to properly define this science fiction universe. I mean, I have yet to properly define who Jupiter Jack is and all of the crazy adventures that he would even go on. So it's like this is a universe still in development. You are equally here developing this universe with us on the second episode of Roll for Heroes, season 2, mind you.
So you guys got to let me write Absolute Jupiter Jack then when time comes.
Or just help us write Jupiter Jack if you want to. I get it.
You can't afford me to write Absolute Jupiter Jack. I'm sorry. The bills, they're just too damn high. You don't have the cash for that. But when you make all the money off Jupiter Jack, then you can hire me for
exactly for the absolute rendition of it. So then we get to see like the potential darker rendition. Maybe he turns into a more gaseous, like giant and whatnot, and the Meteor Mandy is actually affected by the rock, so she isn't just like this cosmic cutesy looking hero, but instead she's actually like the Thing in a weird way, where she has like skin or whatever, and she just happens to shapeshift and form into a weird little meteor ball shooting through space.
Exactly. Have you read Absolute Green Lantern yet?
No, I haven't. Honestly, I have not touched any of the Absolute books, and it's not.
That's right.
Because it's again, even though I am within the area to potentially find a comic book shop, I just got off work to get here. So, I mean, we live and we learn it. We're here for it. So I think I'm kind of getting this idea down a little bit. Again, I don't know why part of me wants to stick with this whole like 60s aesthetic that we kind of went off of here. Because this is science fiction. We can do whatever. But it's like I like the idea of just keeping it all very simple, very cutesy. So we have this little this fine lady who just happens to have tentacle-like hands or appendages of sorts. I could see her with some kind of a Western accent. I can't see this without it. Man, thank you so much for hopping on the show, by the way. This really does mean a lot, especially because because of our circumstances and such.
Of course, dude. Thanks for having me on. Everyone should go and pre-order The Digger. That's the cost of having me on this show, especially until I get that sweet, sweet, absolute Jupiter Jack money. So please go and check out The Digger at your local comic book shop if you get the chance. Even if you don't want to pre-order it, even if you're unsure, issue 1's going to be in comic book stores January 14th. You can ask for it then, go grab a copy, or just mention it to your shop that you've heard about it, because I'm still a smaller creator. Invader Comics is not Image Comics, right? So they're still breaking into the industry, same as me. So please go and check it out if you get the chance. And you can check out my other comic books at can'tbekilledcreations.com, or you can check out Professional Entropy, which is the publisher that I own a piece of. They publish comic books like Tokyo Fire and Hellion and Bash. So if you're more into superheroes or cyberpunk stuff, Tokyo Fire and Hellion and Bash will definitely do that for you. So check out any one of those things. I'd greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me on, E. I'm going to finish up this last few sketch lines and then add some scaling. And then I got to bounce out of here for family dinner. And then I got to go.
The way that I say it, family first, man. You got to focus on that,
Well, they're wonderful. We do a family dinner every week at my in-laws' house, and the interesting thing is since the Digger has popped up on like store shelves and like they were at Comic-Con and they're going to signings with me and stuff, my in-laws they've always been really supportive, but I think they kind of thought I kind of sat here on my butt making indie comics every once in a while. And when they heard about the publishing deal, they're like, "So wait, so you actually work, huh? Like you actually do stuff?" And so it's been really interesting going over there and having more questions asked and being able to talk more about
It's
comic
like,
books.
yes, mom, I make comic books full time. That's how I make my living. Come
That's
on.
exactly it. My mother-in-law is the sweetest person on the planet, but she is not a comic book reader. I remember talking about Spider-Man, and she was like, "So, can you help me out here? Spider-Man's a giant spider, right?" And she legitimately thought, in full earnest, that Spider-Man was a giant spider, which is the wildest thing I think I've ever heard.
Sorry, I just got some. It was my side.
I thought I heard Discord going off, and I was looking at my Discord. I didn't see any.
No, it's my Discord. No, the future wife bitch, she apprehended tickets to go see this movie called Iron Lung, made by
nice.
Markiplier.
Yeah.
So she is a big Markiplier fan.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's always a fun thing there. And then right now she's just yapping it out with her friends, and they're just like, "Oh my god," because she's a huge Markiplier and Jacksepticeye fan. So you can definitely tell when she saw Dispatch for the first time, she's like, Jacksepticeye's in the game. Or when I told her that, she started freaking out because she loves that guy.
Have you played it yet?
Oh, no, I have not. The thing is, she has the game, but for some reason, her computer borderline starts to crash because it overheats really quickly. So it's like, we can't even like properly enjoy it. Even if we did like the cinematic, you know?
Gotcha.
So,
I'm going to boot it up on the PS5 with me and my wife this weekend was the plan.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, actually, the goal for this Christmas, we're actually we're getting each other one of the most expensive gifts. We told each other this is going to be like the one and done Christmas for this year because I don't expect anything else outside of the one gift that I would like to have for this year. And then,
is it a Switch 2?
I don't do video games. She does.
Coward, you don't do video games. What do you mean?
I grew up not playing. My parents were total anti-video game people in our household because they wanted.
I forget how religious you grew up, but
it's not even for religious reasons. Weirdly enough, it's just because we were just it was for school reasons. We were like you gave us anything game related, we were kind of screwed. Educationally wise, that was the only reason. Weirdly enough, they were totally fine with us enjoying some superhero stuff, some other cartoons here and there. But then, like, obviously, they were concerned, when Pokemon was a thing, early 2000s, a lot of that,
Interesting. Okay.
But, what's it called? It was, something that they had to learn to adapt with. And my dad has been nothing but supportive of my endeavors of being a comic artist. He bought me my first, marker set when I graduated. He actually took me to my first convention. He, one day, kind of played hooky from school. He was like, "Esteban, you got any tests you got to do on one Friday?" I'm like, "Not that I'm aware of. No, why?" He's like, "We're gonna go to this con in Miami." I'm like, "Wait, what?" So we went to SuperCon in Miami. That was the first convention I've ever went to. I dressed up in like a crappy Spider-Man as my first cosplay in a con.
Love it.
And we were just kind of going around. I was geeking out. My dad was like honing in. He was like, "We're gonna talk to any of the artists here. We're gonna talk. How are we gonna get him into this whole situation?" Because my dad also kind of pursued his own career goals because he's a musician.
Nice.
So he's a pastor, also a musician, and then coffee connoisseur because he has a coffee business as well, Rock Haven Coffee.
That's so cool.
So, and they're trying to do like their business model as like they're trying to get to a 90-10, where 90% of their proceeds go to charitable organizations to helping people who are trafficked and all that other kind of stuff, and also help sponsor some people get supplies for school, get better clothing, just better lifestyle. And then, of course, they keep at least 10% of the proceeds. That's their intended goal. Their coffee is good quality coffee. It sounds like I'm selling out right now to them, but it's also like it's my dad's company. But it's really good quality coffee. Good quality coffee. They're actually getting a blend from Hawaii. I think they're getting some from Puerto Rico. I believe we have some Colombian mixes already from them and whatnot, but it's like top of the notch, good quality like coffee. And again, good coffee with a good cause. And to think that someone as a musician, coffee connoisseur, father of 5 kids, 1 wife, and yeah, just the reason why I am even pursuing my life goals as it is.
That's super rad, man. Like I love that. My dad was a professional chef for a little while. Um, but most of the people that I grew up with, no one pursued their dreams, right? Like you make ends
Mm.
meet and that was the end of it. So I love hearing that your parents kind of help you and inspire you because I didn't know it was a possibility to do fun stuff. I didn't know anybody who had a job they liked, let alone one that they loved. That was their passion. That's why it took me so long. I wasn't in my 30s, barely until starting comic books. So like when I can hear about people doing that so much earlier and having the support of their families, that's so cool, man. Jealous is the wrong word because I'm not jealous, but like I am just ever impressed that there are other parents that are doing that because you don't see that all the time. I see a lot of parents that want exactly the same life for their kids and or get jealous of it, and it always bothers me because I want everything for my kids and I want them to be inspired. Part of the reason why my wife loves that I do comic books is so my kids don't grow up the way that I did, not knowing that something like this was possible. Like,
Mm.
you know, not knowing that you can go after your passions and not having to have just a desk job, which is completely okay if you do, but they want, I want them to have something that they want. If they want that desk job, by all means, go for it. But I want them to know that there are other options, and doing the arts is incredibly fun and very, very fulfilling, and is just not a thing that everyone knows that you can do. So the fact that your parents are supportive is really, really cool.
Oh yeah, and I mean it was a blast and a half just getting to experience just even starting this whole thing as well. Just being able to create and to draw and to have that be like something that I always wanted to do. And again, my dad's also the reason why my dad also is just as much of an influence in our lives was because for him, he grew up in a really poor situation. Like he was poor. He was so poor he couldn't even afford the word poor.
Right.
Uh, but it was the fact that like his dad one day, my grandpa, he ended up giving my dad a like some kind of a keyboard synthesizer type of situation, and from there was like boom, here you go. That's like something related to your music stuff. And my dad went to music school, paid off his own thing, and met this weird Colombian dude. And he hooked up with his sister, and now he has 5 kids. So that's just how it be. Also,
That's how
just
it
so
goes
that we
sometimes.
can show off a few things, this is actually one instance. All right, so I'm currently showing it off right now, but I'm going to show off at least whatever we can. So this is a role for hero character in a gothic world. Basically, Ruth the Russell. She is a young gothic girl who gained her powers of matter transformation, technology, or technomancy/armor mastery, super strength, flight from her bat-like alien ancestors. My lord, has little control over her powers, but she does her hero work for her own glory because she is selfish. That is crazy. That is a lot of different characters there, man. What is
Love
this?
that more, dude.
Ben and Art, love that, man. Look at that. That is a really cool character design. Oh my lord, I actually can't wait to see how this actually ends up working out in a more like. I want to see this character be shaped over the years. This looks so awesome, man. Love this one. I love this design over here too. This looks like a fun classic. Let me see if I can try my best to do this right here, just so we could probably show this off because I know how to function here. Come on. There we go. Let's take this, put that right over here. Man, look at that. That's some gnarly looking things, dude. Loving your art, man. I'm loving your art, TS. That's pretty solid
Oh,
stuff.
thanks, buddy. I forgot that it was on the screen. I've had to pretend like it wasn't so I don't get too self-conscious because I don't draw live very often.
That's all right. That's just how it be. But I will say though, this is a really cool art piece right here. I love this classic superhero look. It really looks like it could be its own thing. Again, can't wait to see how you refine your style. I love what I see here, and I love that you're able to do the posing. I see that you're really practicing that. I love this so much. Love the colors too work very well for this as well. This This is gnarly. I love this design right over here. This is a really cool one. I like that a lot. I love how chaotic it looks. It looks like he's trying to do some kind of a kung fu pose or something like that. I think that's a number 3, which is young man who was born with acrobatics to change his density, but his family powers came from his ancestors of rare artifact in a tomb. Oh, dang, that's really cool, man. That is solid stuff. And then we got the last one, which is this design over here. I'm loving that. Again, let me see. Another Gothic world character from a lost race, hence the blue skin. Oh man, the powers of transformation matter, technomancy. Man. Oh, wait, hold on, wrong one. It was lost. There we go. That's the one. Telekinesis, minor change of density, enhanced senses. That's pretty sick. This is really, really cool. I like what I see here, man. I really like what I see here. Let me see if there's any other role for hero thing that isn't just clips of Fish and I yapping and chatting all day long, because that's what it looks like over here on Instagram. See if I can find anything on the TubeU per se. For hero, let me see if we can find anything there. Just a lot of D&D adjacent stuff. Might not. I don't have any other I do have other social medias, but I have not caught up on all of that. But I do like what I see here. Hopefully, we'll be able to have more cool things to show off. And speaking of cool things to show off, I should get this thingy over here, and we're gonna choose. All right, I'm gonna roll for colors. Hold on. 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Please let this be a good one. Please let this be a good one. 5. I can work with that. I can work with that.
I wonder if you can work with it, chat.
Maybe. Who knows? Because usually, whenever I go on this app, it's called Coolers, and I remember checking this app out from what's it called, Boyd Comics, who did all the Shape comic stuff.
I don't know. Yeah, Braden Boyd.
Yeah, so he ended up doing this. He suggested this one app, Coolers, which is the one that I just used, and it is one of the best apps for color combinations and such, which is fantastic. Anyways, let me just show off what you got going on over here, because you look like you got some. Oh, that's gnarly. Okay. This looks like a dude that the Jupiter Jack and Meteor Mandy would not want to meet up with. It's like, oh no, do we have to? It's like he's the only person that we know. It's like,
right. That was exactly the vibe I was trying to go for.
He's the only one we can unfortunately trust right now. Dude, he's just gross looking. I understand that, but that's alienists. Is that a thing?
You can't be doing that. But, absolute Jupiter Jack, on the other hand, maybe he's a little bit rougher around the edges.
We never know. We just got to get you to do absolute Jupiter Jack. That's just what we really got to do. We just got to sit down. We just got to yap and chat about, absolute Jupiter Jack. Just got to figure out what this dude's whole deal is, Just got to figure all that out. There we go. Come on. Just got it. There we go. And I'm trying to figure out this whole, dear Lord. Come on! I'm trying to do art and it's not arting. I hate it when it does that.
You got to art harder. Get good, bro.
I'm trying to art harder. I was just drawing Black Terror this morning.
I don't know what that means.
It's the public domain character.
Oh, okay. From your public domain. What do you call them, Avengers, or do you call it Justice League?
I call it the Legion of Vengeance.
Yeah.
But I'm doing this, I'm going to call it the Heroes of Gold. Kind of like Heroes of Old, but I call it Heroes of Gold because they're Golden Age heroes. And it's more or less me just taking the classic characters and just giving them a proper redesign. No affiliation or associations with their popular counterparts. So I'm not going to be making a Superman knockoff. I'm not going to be making a Batman knockoff. I'm going to be taking the character of like Black Terror and redesigning it how I believe he would be best designed. I'm going to take the character of the Blue Flame, designing it how I believe that character is supposed to be designed, or put a very unique twist on it. Who knows?
Love to see it, dude.
Oh yeah, and not only that, I'm liking these. Loving these colors over here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm yipping, I'm yapping, I'm here and I'm there. I'm a little bit everywhere.
I'm going to try to clean this up a little bit
There we
without
go. There
actually
we
going into
go.
my layers for 5 hours like I normally do.
Thank you, Philip. I'm actually kind of liking the way that TS's is kind of coming out because it's supposed to look gnarly, and I decided to make mine look like a more prim, proper kind of bounty huntress kind of lady, where she's just oh, hi there, Jupiter Jack, and this one's like, oh, hi there, Jupiter Jack. So I'm a little
that's always
envious.
going to be what I come up with because my style is so sketchy and so unrefined that it's always going to be a little bit weird.
But that's actually like the cool part about it because again, this is also sci-fi, so you can kind of make it however you want. And of course, I wish I took it the creepy route, but I'm like, I don't know why I was trying to stay with the '60s aesthetic. With sci-fi, we can do whatever we want, but I just want to kind of, I guess, keep myself in that box a little bit to kind of see how that works. But that's just me. Man, imagine if Fish was here right now. Man, imagine what he would have been drawing if he was on the show right now.
Oh, look at me, I'm Fish. I know how to draw well. Like that guy, man. You know.
Not you,
Smack.
Smack.
I love my grandkids, so I'm gonna go over there and visit them instead of working 80 hours this week. That guy.
Oh no.
Can we say how we really feel about Fish finally? Since he's definitely not watching right now.
Probably no, he probably is or isn't.
I think he was.
Also
I think I saw him in there earlier. I got asked. I was on a podcast last week, and they're like, "So I heard that you're beefing a little bit with one of your collaborators," and I was like, "Oh no, what did you hear? Like, I don't think so." He was like, "Yeah, well, I was listening in on a show, and you were saying some stuff that you had some rough opinions about Mr. Fish," and I was like, "Oh no, I was purely kidding. I love him." But like I had talked too much smack, and they thought that I really didn't like Fish.
You talk so much smack that it's like only you can bully him kind of a situation. You know, where it's it's like you and him, you talk smack to each other all the time, but then all of a sudden when it comes down to like someone else talking smack to him, you're like, hey, that's my friend.
I would fight anybody who talks smack about Fish, but I do talk a lot of smack about Fish. It's because he's 1,000 years old, you know? Like, he needs someone to come down to his level every once in a while and talk a little smack.
You're not wrong. He has claimed himself to be the sexiest man in all of 1969. So, I mean, I can see how he's on his high horse.
Well, no one was alive back then is the thing. He says 1969, but it was just 969. So it's hard for us to get an accurate portrayal of it.
Not the accurate portrayal. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man.
It's fine. He's not listening. No one's going to tell him, right, chat? Be cool. Chat, be cool, okay?
Chat, I think we need to be cool, in my opinion. But again, that's just my opinion. Nobody asked for it.
That's right. I don't know why I'm talking so much smack now. You set it off
on our show that we do, just rolling up heroes, trying to be chill dudes and cool guys, and then you just over here like, nah.
Listen, when you make the big bucks like I do, you can talk a little bit more smack.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
I make tens of dollars making comic books. Thank you.
Bro, tens?
That's right.
Tens of dollars?
That's right.
Now, I gotta leave
bought a whole McDonald's meal with all of my proceeds.
Bro, in today's economy?
That is pretty good, right?
That is a flex. That is a flex if I've ever heard anything about that. Oh, okay. I'm actually kind of digging this a little bit. I'm just giving this looks a little unnerving, and you know, I think I'll work with that. Given her, I was supposed to do the little polka dots and whatnot, but I should have done the halftone thing. But I'll probably do that later.
I do everything in halftones because it's such a good shortcut. And the second you said scale, I'm like, well, I got a lot of polka dot tools, so I can do that instead of full on actual scales.
True. And that's actually one of the challenges that I would love to probably dive into at some point in time, and it would be to like actually do halftone coloring because that is
if you like that golden age look, if you like those classic stories, I mean, halftone is half the battle when it comes to bringing that look to life. I use Craft Tone from True Grit. I'm sure you've heard of their stuff, but
I think I have their set right. I think I have their set.
Yeah, I mean, Braden again from Shape Comics. He's the one who turned me onto them, and I love a lot of their what's the word, pencils, pens, their different packs for utensils, digital, um, and I think all of their stuff's really good.
Oh, I 100% agree. This is interesting of a character concept. Again, was I expecting to draw this kind of character? Absolutely not. Well, so, oh, thankfully, again, do that.
And that's the difference between me and you, E. That's why I make the big bucks. Is I was ready for this today. I was like, this is probably going to happen. I got to be prepared to draw an alien with 7 tentacles
And 6 eyes.
Yeah, I think I forgot an eye. Don't worry about it. Don't ask questions, chat. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Let's go back to talking about Absolute Batman.
This definitely just feels like I made a runner OC, but I'm not mad about that.
Why not? No one's here to stop you. That's the beauty of it being your own thing.
This is pretty darn nifty. I'll give myself that. Oh man, just okay. I just inverted the colors and just look at that. Just looking like
that actually works really well. I love that.
Like a swamp creature.
Yeah.
Kind of... Oh shoot, that actually works though. Hold up.
Yeah, I like that.
Excuse me there, Sonny. I don't think you're supposed to be in these spots. Where she ended up getting like the what's it called? The voice modulator. What is it called over here? The emitter. I feel like she got it from like some cowboy themed or other bounty hunter. Love sneezing on stream. Don't we just love that? Oh my lord.
No one was going
to. But I feel like she would have gotten something like that on some other bounty hunter. And they just happen to always have a southern accent attuned to it, because it's probably one of the most gentle accents that they've ever used, which is why they can smooth talk their way into some specific situations.
Yeah.
Which actually makes this character much more threatening, especially because, you know, she's trying to be some sly, conniving kind of a character, being like, I don't think you're supposed to be out of here now. You know, how does she snap with a tentacle hand? We'll never know.
Oof. Very carefully.
Very carefully. Very menacingly. He's just standing there. Menacingly. Gotta love a SpongeBob quote. And let's just add a pattern for the good old kicks and the giggles and the giggles and the kicks. What do we get? We'll never know. Ooh, you know what? I think this actually might work instead.
Is the blue working, chat? What do you think?
Oh, shoot.
I thought I'm mad. Added the deep sea.
I'm mad because that's actually cool, and I'm jealous that I didn't come up with that. I guess I have to stay mad now because I brought this upon myself.
Stay mad. Ha ha. No, I don't need to do Tekashi 6ix9ine right now. That's unnecessary.
Okay, do like a little flower pattern on her dress, because I feel like she's just a nice, charming bounty huntress on this sector of the galaxy. We made our way to the western sector of the galaxy, and that's our biggest mistake. Because we came across... What do you think this character's name would be, Chad? What do you think this character's name would be?
Yeah, I was going to say earlier, we were talking about it, I'm like, we don't have names for these guys yet.
Because this is an interesting little character that we got going on here. Or at least on my side. But I know that for you, like yours... Man, I'm very jealous I didn't come up with that myself. That is a killer character concept.
Thank you.
That is awesome. Actually, what would happen if I inverted this? I like it. See how we go with it. There we go. think this is not too bad of a design concept. Probably looks like it's a lot. Maybe if I take the pattern of that and just lower that opacity real quick, then maybe we actually end up getting something. What do you think, chat? What do you think? Does that make me an official streamer now that I, call out to the chat? It's like, what do you guys think, chat?
That's how it works. You now are allowed to be at the streamies.
Heck yeah! Could be a streamer. All right. Oh, wrong one. Come on, man. I gotta get my stuff together. All right. Let me see what I could probably do. No. Okay, there we go. Gotta do half opacity, so then it kind of shows just a little bit, not too much, just right. This is actually, I'm really starting to like this design a little bit. I feel like once I draw this character out in a proper pose, like, with like a gun or a sword or something like that, then I'll be like, all right, I believe we can make this work. Plus, I can see this character shapeshifting to some extent. Like, maybe her eye stalks kind of shrink into her face or whatever, and she has that like a squid-like effect to like camouflage underneath, the seafloor or whatnot. I can totally see her using that to her advantage. Maybe the eye stalks play like a different type of facial structure. Maybe it might play as like, an ear shape, or it could play into like a nose shape, or maybe the different kind of eyebrow. I don't know, something like that. That would be very twisted and very weird. What do y'all think about that? That is, what would the name of this character be, though? Because this is an interesting one.
I feel like my version, he would have multiple names to multiple people. So it's like if you walked up to him on a Thursday and he's talking to Jupiter Jack, this is his name. And then about 15 minutes later, when the cops came over, they're like, do you know that guy, Fred? And like, oh, no, of course not. You know what I mean? Like, it would be a different name to everybody.
This guy a day in my life. I don't know who you're talking about.
Exactly.
I'm just the guy who's he is. But then all of a sudden just changes his voice, going like, well, it just happens to be that I know this person from this sector of the galaxy over there. But like just has like a weird, like different, like maybe different. The emitters can also do different alien voices, which
that would be the idea, right? Because of the technology that he has. That like he would do all sorts of different voices depending on not just the language, but like what kind of language it is too. Like I love that. Also, as soon as you went into that voice, I'm like, so it's played by Joe Pesci, right? Like that's the only way that we could do this.
Your guess is as good as mine, because I just do voices for the fun of it sometimes. I'm just doing it for the love of the game, realistically speaking. Until the day that I actually, funnily enough, y'all could go to this channel and, or at least on my channel, one of the very first few videos was actually me voicing my comic with my fiance.
Oh, nice.
The Unbeatables #1 was the first like voiceover work I've ever properly done for anything that I've ever made. It was so hysterically cringe in all the right ways. I think. I don't know. It was made during a strange. It was made during a strange time.
Yeah, but like it sounded pretty good. I remember those videos. Shout out to my buddy Benny Rose. He's a professional voice actor. He does a lot of stuff like that. If you ever wanted to do more, man, like I'm always looking for people to voice my stuff instead of me. Because I used to do audio dramas and stuff. That was what I did in high school. But I'm not a very good actor, and I don't always love doing it. So you could voice some of my stuff for me when I do my trailers.
Well, I mean, I just voiced the Cheshire Cat in Fish's book, so that's gonna be fun to see.
Hey, so you're already voicing him in some of my books.
Yes, I am actually.
Love to hear it, dude.
Especially because one of my favorite, because I love doing the lion sound. Now I don't know how good I do it in comparison to others, because I do like the classic roar.
Sure,
but it's not like I go like that. It's more the
I love that, dude. That's really
So
good.
it's
I
like,
can only do that when I have a cup to do it with me. Like you do that exact sound, but into a cup, and it does like the echoey.
oh yeah, no, it's like a with a tube of like a what's it called
Yeah,
the toilet paper tube.
yeah, exactly. Same idea.
So that's how I felt a little cringe doing that a little bit, but it was like but then again, that's voice acting in a nutshell.
Yeah, you can't feel cringe if you're gonna do voice acting because that's half the battle, man.
I actually remember doing little things for our church called Vacation Bible Schools, and one of the forms of advice.
VBS, man.
Oh my lord, those they take me back because my aunt was the children's head. She was head honcho of the kids ministry stuff, and she would always follow those things down to a T. But man, whenever it came down to like the little acting bits and always talking about whatever, like whenever there was acting involved, if you felt stupid doing it, you were doing it right. That's the main
Right.
advice from it. If you feel stupid doing it, you're doing it correctly. So if I
Exactly.
felt a little cringe doing the whole lion roar thing, then yeah, of course I felt cringe, but I know I probably did it right. You know.
Yeah, dude.
But one of my favorite parts about it is like doing the purring kind of sound because it's Cheshire, so it's like the I don't
That's
think
really
you'll pick
good.
it up. Yeah, but it's
No,
like
no,
it's like
yeah.
so it's like that purring sound because it's Cheshire. So I'm like, okay. So I was trying to play onto that and whatnot. Heck, I even remember doing the voice work for something we did for our youth ministry because it was all about like being rooted in Christ, and it was and one of the first videos that they saw was like I played like this Australian character named Ed Root, and it's like, oh, look at this, it's all like this, that, whatever, and the little squirrel attacks me, and I go, oh, crikey, it was a whole it was a whole thing. And then when the teenagers came back, they were like absolute cinema. They were just loving it. I love it. Oh, but yeah, this is a lot of fun. This was very interesting getting to show off these ideas for characters that we got going on over here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, dude. I'm signing my work right here.
All right, now let's actually get that on a bigger display. We got to show that one off proper because that deserves to be shown off. Look at that. That
Chat,
is really
please name
cool.
I'll send you the JPEG if you want.
Yeah, that'll be great. And then we could probably so then for next week when Fish does get back, or if he's not busy, then we can probably do the little versus animation. That's really cool, man. Kind of envious that I didn't kind of go
too.
that
I don't
route.
know if you saw the waving lines. I don't know if that came across. He's supposed to be waving at you.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's awesome. And then we got Benji over here saying a hero who failed to experiment with 3 major powers, 1 minor power that only works at night and is activated by a sacred oath.
That's a hell
Brother, that is an insane character. I can't wait to see what that looks like. And if you guys want to show off your characters, make sure to use the hashtag roll4hero. That's ROLL, the number 4, and HERO. I'm assuming, Lou, that this is your time for you to start.
It is. I gotta bounce. Thank you
Want to
so
do some
much
final
for
promos
having
before
me.
we officially get you on out of here? Because
I appreciate it. You can find me around the internet at TS Luther across the board. I'm on Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, all those places. You can find me at my website, campykillcreations.com. I'm going to be doing signings at all sorts of places here in Michigan for my new book, The Digger, which comes out January 14th. It's basically What If Indiana Jones Hunted Short Round. It's available in all your local comic book shops, and you can pre-order issue 2 right now. It really does help. It makes sure that it's in the stores when you want to go pick it up on release. We're doing monthly releases, so The Digger issue 1 is coming out in January, February for issue 2, so on and so forth. It's only a 4-issue miniseries, and it's my first big break as a comic book writer. It's going to be in all the different shops. It's widely distributed. It's at a legit publisher in Invader Comics. You can order it at any comic book store that you want. So please do me a favor and go check that out. And if you see me online, please say hi. If you see me in person, definitely come and say hi. I'm at all the different Comic-Cons and all the different stuff. So thank you so much for having me, Esteban. I appreciate you, and I'm glad I could draw something much better than last time. I would be lying if I said I wasn't really practicing, trying to be ready if I got called up again.
hey, listen, practice makes improvement because there's no such thing as perfection. But other than that, I'm loving your design of that character. That is so fantastic. Whenever you have the time, send me the JPEG so we can show it off for next week. That is an awesome design, man. I really like the way that's going out. Anyways, enjoy your family time, man. Tell the wife and the children I said hi. You keep it easy out there, all right, bud?
All right, bye, guys. Now watch me awkwardly try to leave.
I know, right? It's always the worst part. All right, and there was only two. And now two, there's only one. There's two little screens. There's only one of me. So, guys, what do you guys think? Miss Dobby. You guys think this character's name would be Miss Dobby. So what do you guys think of my design? You think I could have done any more improvements with this design that I kind of got going on over here? What do y'all think? I mean, I did a lot of cool colors. I mean, this character could do a lot of shape-shifting, but I think this is like a fun little base form for now. And I feel like if I ever did this character in color, this would be a lot of fun to work with. You know, actually getting to see this character pair up with Jupiter Jack would be very interesting. So this is the second character I've seen Luther draw. Yeah, well, hey, I'm glad you're able to see him draw on this stream here on Roll for Hero, where he rolled up a cracked out, crazy alien character. What do you guys think of this? Sorry for, again, I really shouldn't be super apologetic, but I really am. It's a horrible habit of mine. But first time having to take on the show on my own here, and I'm obviously doing what I can here, but I'm having a blast and I don't know about y'all, but this character design was a ton of fun to put together. I mean, it is interesting trying to use 7 different tentacles and whatnot. Well, would be interesting to see a cover of her going up against Jupiter Jack. You are not wrong, Benjamin. That is definitely a really cool comic book cover concept that I would love to check out myself, because that would be very, very interesting to draw. And probably once I do the Roll for Hero recap for next week, I'll be able to properly show that off. So this means I got a lot more drawing to do. You know, now that I got some potential things working up right now, got some other ideas on the go. You know, got some public domain adjacent ideas going up. Got some what's it called? Some ultra value. I'm no longer making knockoff like superheroes using public domain characters. I'm actually just going to go straight for making knockoff heroes on my own. You know, we have the whole public domain series where I'm going to take just public domain characters and just give them the proper revamp that I believe they deserve. Then we're just going to do the ultra value series where I'll just make 100% knockoff characters that are like of my own creation. That way I can use it on some of my own comics and my own endeavors and projects. Who knows? What do you guys think about that kind of stuff? Again, let me let me know in the comments. This is what up, Unc? What up, Unc? I am Unc. What the heck is going on? How you doing? How you doing, Mark the Shark? We are, what's it called? You rocked as a host, and design of the character turned out awesome. Thank you so much. I really did enjoy this character design a lot. Getting to see this in a fun little, like weird Westernish kind of style. I could do, personally, I feel like I could have done a little bit more, but I feel like less is more in this situation. So the fact that I'm able to work with, a very simplistic design really does say a lot. Plus, I can imagine this character would be a pain in the butt to color, but would be a ton of fun with the results. Like imagine her in a desert setting and you get to see her in that like tannish and like burgundy kind of stripe and polka dot colors as she's on that whole, setting and traversing through that kind of scene where she's properly in the ocean region with beautiful coral and blues and greens. Your ideas sound great. I'm looking forward to seeing them. Hey, listen, I can't wait to see where we go with this entire science fiction universe. Honestly, I thought I was going to be designing henchmen's for this overall for Jupiter Jack, but I feel like that's got to be something that we got to do with like Mr. Fish and whatnot. So what do you guys think? So before we officially head out, or before we end it all here, because stream might have to run a little short, or it can go longer. Who knows? But what do you believe? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. The future wife is just calling me. Oh, so sorry about that, everybody. So sorry about that. Let me see. All right. Anyways, let's see your design. But also, this alien is giving me vibes of the pink alien from season 1. Oh, Shelbyville. You're not wrong, because again, I have a tendency to draw my characters very symmetrically. That's just a habit that I started doing. And the reason why I do this is because of the fact that if I ever look back and if I ever want to use this character for a comic book or if I want to find out how their suit looks or their design is overall, I can go back and then like take a look at it all over again. Again, best example is when you just mentioned the pink alien girl, which is Shelbyville, which one of y'all gave me such a beautiful name for that character, which is over here. Duh. You're not wrong, because they had that similar vibe of the arms kind of poking outwards, and you get to see what each of the arms look like, what they all have on their wrists and stuff. So again, 4-arm alien girl. For all we know, this could also be the same science fiction universe where Shelbyville's alien race is from. Once you think about it, you know, we got this steampunk alien. She just looks steampunk because she went from her planet and went to a steampunk Earth, you know? So that's one way of looking at it. Maybe this is actually, you know, a whole prequel series where she actually just happened to crash land on a older Earth and Jupiter Jax just happened to be from like centuries later. Who knows? You know? But overall, whenever I design a character, I always want to do it symmetrically. So then that way I have a general idea of how their suit looks and how their design is overall. So then that way I can take that concept and then just, you know, go with it. Again, you see how simple that design is for Jupiter Jack, but then you see the comic cover that I did for Jupiter Jack and, you know, for Fish Meteor Mandy, and you can see how awesome it is. Again, because of the symmetrical layout of the design. What's it called? Maybe Shelby and this alien made our special. Wait, hold on. Let me read that again. This alien that I made are species related. Not a bad idea. But from the looks of it, though, the alien that I drew compared to Shelbyville, let me kind of put these side by side, so then that way I have something to kind of go back and forth to, so I'm not always having to do a whole back and forth all over again. Let me just take the background off over here. Let's do some brainstorming while we can. So she's like a space bounty hunter kind of lady. So, of course, we have Shelbyville over here. Now, again, this is because this is a character from a steampunk Earth. She just happened to be an alien, traveled to Earth during their steampunk era. For all we know, maybe she ended up like doing some quantum leaping, jumping, whatever it is, and just happened to get to Earth during its steampunk era. And then maybe on the complete other side of the galaxy, Jupiter Jack is a human from Earth like centuries later into the future. Or maybe there just happens to be two Earths that are just very different, maybe the same. Maybe that there just happens to be like a copy and paste and they're just on completely separate sides of the galaxy or the universe. Hence why Jupiter Jack is on one side and Shelbyville's over here. But we got Shelbyville, and then we have this squid lady over here. I like the idea of combining the universes. That is not a bad idea. I mean, we are trying to find ways to kind of work together. We're trying to combine as much as we can. And that's the whole point of this season for now, is to just stick to all the sci-fi stuff that we get to kind of put into, at least for now, in this universe. You know, maybe for season 3, we're looking into probably diving into the steampunk universe or the cyberpunk universe. So that way we can touch on more of like the American Eagle, the Birds of a Feather kind of character. Or if we want to go into the steampunk, you know, situation, we actually get to dive into Shelbyville, Featherwind, and Todd, as well as Ivan the Invulnerable. Of course, how can I forget about the awesome space train that Shelbyville would have? Like, if this character had her very own alien-like train, come on, that would be a banger of an idea. But this is the character in question. What do you guys think her name should be? I think before this stream ends, we need to know what this character's name would be. So what do y'all think this character's name should, you know, like, what do you think she looks like? Like, based off this image, what do you think her name is? You know, I could go off of some kind of a squid joke or some kind of a, you know, I could do something aquatic themed, but that would be a little bit too on nose or too little bit on brand, you know? It's very interesting stuff that we got going on over here. But yeah, so I tried finding ways to incorporate as much as I could. If you go for the cyberpunk universe and roll up a bunch of bird-themed characters, it would be crazy. I will admit, the American Eagle was a very coincidental character for the steampunk thing, or for the cyberpunk thing, because that was just me trying to find a way to incorporate the public domain stuff, and we just happened to do the American Eagle. And then the Birds of a Feather situation happened because one of y'all made a bunch of like bird jokes and whatnot, and or like references of like, you know, different kind of birds, and we're like, all right, bet we're sticking with that theme now. Y'all's fault, and we decided to just go gung ho for it. And Pigeon Forge was equally just as much of a. That was a bit too coincidental, and also Fish made his rendition of that kind of character, but with an ox, I think it is, or something like that. So we got that. We got Squidette, Squidtella. Love it. Carla Zadu. Ooh, Philip. That. I like that. I still say Miss Dobby something in I still say Miss Dobby something innocent, but her nickname is absolutely horrific. Ooh, okay. You know what? Okay, ready. I'm gonna take all three of your names that y'all suggested, and I'm gonna incorporate that into her character. So let's say, okay, brainstorm session. Let's do it. So she's actually a space bounty hunter, known throughout a small sector, or known throughout a small, throughout the small western sector of the galaxy. I can English. This character is a bounty huntress, right? She basically makes her living hunting down people, or happens to work for the highest bidder. And she actually goes by a few names within the western sector of the galaxy. She goes by, for those that are very chummy with her, and for those that happen to be very buddy buddy, she goes by Squitella, right? Very beauteous, a very charlatan kind of a name. She's in a high profile kind of a situation with like higher end nobles, corrupted or noble or some in between. She's that kind of person that would find jobs and works with them. She would be known as Squitella. Her real name would be Carla Zaru, right? Carla Zaru would be like her proper, like actual, like legal name by her planet's situation. And then it turns out when you tick her off, or if you happen to be her target, if you're on her end of her blaster or laser pistol or whatever that is, she goes by Miss Dobby. I feel like that's like a really cool way to kind of incorporate the different naming conventions for this one character. You have it's like the legendary Carla Zaru, the best bounty hunter within this sector of the galaxy. I see that we could make an arrangement here. Or, if someone tries to be all chummy with her, but she's not vibing with it, she's like, oh, Squintella. Hold back now. I never said we were that. It's like we're close, but we're not that close. Right? But then if you're her victim, it's like, oh no, is Miss Dobby. Like, yeah, sure, it sounds funny, but like it's that kind of name that you don't want to make mockery of. It's kind of like Voldemort's name. You don't want to really say it often because it could bring bad luck or something like that. That's a pretty cool name. So I'm going to, for now, do... Ooh, it's really hard to choose one. But for now, I think I'm just going to do Miss Dobby. Because that is not Robbie, Miss Dobby. Come on. That's a pretty good one. Thank you, Philip. Or not Philip. Well, thank you for the Carla Zaru. I like that name for this character. But for... Who's the one who gave me this? Thank you, Dragon Gaming, for giving me Miss Dobby, because that is a really, really funny name, but also a really, like it could also be equally as intimidating if you know how to write the character out, And imagine the absolute rendition of this character. Would she be like super tactical? Imagine Jupiter Jack would make her get out more if she hunted. Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me read that again because I don't know if I read that correctly. It's like, imagine Jupiter Jack would make her name get out more if she hunted him. So if she started hunting him down. So if Miss Dobby started hunting down Jupiter Jack, he's done for. And he's like, I'm going to be attacked by Miss Dobby. And they're like, oh no, we heard the name. Like they're all kind of a curse type situation. I like the idea of using all three suggestions for the name of the character just because it fits the shape-shifting powers as well as the bounty hunter vibe. Even better of a reason. Was I thinking about that at all? Absolutely not. I was just going off the whole like mythic legend aspect of this kind of character. That is a more beautiful reason, Philip Riders. Thank you so much for that. Awesome. Love the name connections. Love the fact that we were able to connect all the names together. This kind of bounty hunter working together, that's insane. Actually, speaking of all those kind of characters working together and all that other kind of fun stuff, we also happen to have, what's it called? Luther's design. What would you name this character? I mean, look at this guy. This is a pretty gnarly looking dude. Like he looks like the uncomfortable, tentacle-filled alien guy that you really don't want to be interacting with. Like, what would you name this guy? like Jupiter Jack, Meteor Mandy, Miss Dobby, and they encounter. What do we got for this guy? What is this dude's name? Because I got to tell TS what y'all named him because I think he would love it so much if we got that all here. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Let me know. Let me know. Or not. I don't know. But I think for now, I think we had a pretty good standstill with Miss Dobby as the character here because that's a lot of fun to work with. And let me see if I can get them side by side. Perfect. Look at that. We got Miss Dobby and pending name. Or Gnarl. That'd be a weird name. Dernosby? Dernosby? I would take the Dur away and just call him Nosby because I feel like that would be that kind of name unless Tia says otherwise. Feel like it screams the name Drudge. Dranosby. Durnosby. Drunosby. Drudge. Drusby. Drudgeby. I like maybe combining the names of, instead of saying Nosby, that's a pretty funny one. But what if we went with Nosby being like either the first or last name? Or like, this is like, we need to talk to Drudge Nosby. It's like, not Nosby, we need to talk to Nosby. Creating this unholy abomination of a name. So we have Miss Dobby, the space bounty hunter, and then we have Drudge Nosby over here. Or Nosder or Durnoz. I don't know. That's a really interesting one there. So we got Miss Dobby and Drudge and Nosby. I feel like Drudge and Nosby works. This guy here, can you give me the breakdown? All right, Sniper Panda, here's the situation. We drew some really fun, whacked out alien characters based off the suggestions. No superpowers. These are just basic alien-like characters that have a lot kind of going on with them. For more context here, they happen to have 7 different tentacles. They happen to have a human-adjacent body. They have 6 eyes that are on, stalks. Hence they kind of poke out a little bit. They have a humanoid-shaped like head. They have a sonic emitter as a method of talking or conversing, so they don't really have a proper means of communicating. They also happen to have electromagnetic-like organs, so you can really think of them as something squid-like, because very electric to an extent. They come from a technocracy, basically. They're a third party kind of a people living under a techno-based kind of a society, potentially. They are also shapeshifters, as well as having a few extra limbs. So that's what these kind of characters are like. I ended up going with a more like a Western style bounty hunter from the aquatic regions in the west sector of the galaxy or something like that. Because I feel like she would definitely be like a gunslinging kind of a, anti-hero or, a very morally gray kind of a character. And then on stream, we had T.S. Luther, because Mr. Fish is currently not here right now. So he put his hat into the ring and drew this guy right over here. So we ended up coming with the name that this one is Miss Dobby, but she also goes by, Kerr, because I totally have it here. Carla Zaru, as well as Squitella, depending on who she's talking to and who she's in association with. And we're just trying to figure out the name for this guy over here. And so far, I'm thinking, combining a few names that y'all suggested, which is, Drudge Nosby, or maybe Nosby Drudge, but we're still trying to figure that out. So that's more or less the situation. That's a bit of the rundown too. Or maybe it's less of a name and more just straight up sound. But then again, that's also how we name things. My name to y'all is Uncle E, but that's also sounds. It's Uncle E. It's like, that's how we sound. That's just a series of sounds. We just have an association. So I like the idea of Durnosby, but I feel like Drudge Nosby would be a really interesting one, or Nosby Drudge. I feel like is a fun way of like trying to make it sound soft. Like I feel like that's a name that softens the blow to how he looks. It's like, do we really need to talk to, Nosby Drudge? It's like, don't judge his overall appearance or something like that. I don't know, some kind of a stupid joke or pun about judging others. That's a very interesting take. But I mean, who knows? I mean, you're not wrong, because there could be aliens that have different metrics of languages that are just literally just straight up sounds. So it could be very interesting. Hey there, Doggone Comics. How you doing? How you doing? We're just more or less kind of figuring out naming the character. So we got Miss Dobby over here, and then we have, Drudge Beanaz. Drudge Nosby. Or Noseby. Like Mr. Mosby, but instead of an M, it's an N. Who knows? Who knows? Combine both names again. That's what I'm trying to do, because we got one that just says Drudge, and then the other one is Nosby. So then it's like Drudge Nosby, or should it be Nosby Drudge? That's a better question. Nosby Drudge, or, Greg. You know what? Wait, hold on. Wait. What's more dangerous, a dumb villain with dangerous powers or a smart villain with dumb powers? Commander Combat, that's a really good question. I'll get to you in just a sec. Maybe Drudge is the name of the species. Oh, okay, wait, that can work. And his name is Nosby then. So he is this species of known as the Drudge, which is probably like, maybe some scary, weird, shape-shifting alien kind of a creature, kind of a situation there, and they're known as drudges. That could be very interesting. And then he just happens to be named Nosby because that was like the strange association that he put onto himself. Not a bad idea. I gotta inform Luther about this. I am informing him as we speak. There we go. Give me a second here, guys. I'm just delivering the message here. There we go. Nosby sounds perfect. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Well, I kind of figured out a way to combine the major power of transforming matter with the power of energy projection by shapeshifting the energies matter the character made. Wow. Y'all getting really creative. That's why you guys really understand. That's why I really love this show. The fact that we're really challenged. Like, even though we have the same power sets and everything, it's the fact that you have to try to find a way to make it different or keep it the same, but make it its own thing. It's like if I want to make a character with bug-based abilities, sure, I can make him climb on walls and have extra senses, make him strong. But who's to say I'm just knocking off Spider-Man, What makes my character different, even if I had something similar to what Spider-Man has? Again, you just got to go for it and just like take those similarities, but make it your own. And that's what I love about this show, is that we're taking things that we've already had established. But the fact that y'all are taking it to a very different direction, giving it a unique power system, making it its own thing, that is very interesting. And that's the reason why I very much enjoy this overall thing here. Let's see, like maybe this species didn't have names, so he added that to it, like thing 1, thing 2. Ooh, it's not a bad idea. Maybe there could be a group of scientists that call them the Drudge, because maybe that's like one of the sounds that someone made when they were being attacked by one. Who knows? The possibilities are endless here, especially now that we're in an entire sci-fi type of situation and whatnot. Oh my Lord, you guys have no idea how much I really want to make a full-blown comic book with Jupiter Jack, Meteor Mandy, and now Miss Dobby and, Nosby, if we ever decide to use him in any way, shape, or form. Of course, royalties have to go to TS, respectively so, because, he would probably write the Absolute series and would make him the main character. Or, this is kind of out of respect. That's not a bad idea, Sniper Pen. That's a pretty fun idea. But what do y'all think of my rendition of this character? What would you guys have done differently if you were given exactly the stuff that we ended up rolling today? How would you have gone about designing this character? I would love to know how y'all would think about that, That's why I love this show so much, because again, if Fish was here, like obviously you got to see what Luther and I ended up doing. We took the same exact premise, the same exact, skills and everything, and we made it our own. Like we made it our own. You guys to see what I did. You see what Luther did. Imagine if Mr. Fish was here and he did his rendition. Unfortunately, he's not. But I mean, look at that. Two very different renditions of these characters. I'm a little envious of Luther's idea because he went with a more creepy direction, and I went with a more like gung ho kind of a Western kind of an idea. Dose of the drugs have lie. Whoa, hold on. Either I read that crazy. Oh wait, there we go. It does. Does the drug that lie Wolverine's claws that come out of his arms, but like single blades? Maybe. Either I'm not reading that right, or potentially. You should make characters based off Ben 10, but instead of turning into aliens, the character should turn into monsters for the future comic. For a future comic. Love Ben 10, the classic series. Would love. I would have changed the clothing a little to look like sci-fi assassin type. Okay. To look more sci-fi assassin type. Okay, I see where you're coming from. Okay. Hey, how you doing, Katie from Facebook? How you doing? We just showing off these cool RPs that we just more or less finished, rolling up and all that other kind of fun stuff. I missed out. Don't worry, I'm having a hard time reading as it is. And the funny thing is I'm trying to get into comics as a full-time thing, so that's always fun. And funnily enough, I actually had this idea since we're on here. And Mr. Luther commented that he loved the name. He loved it. We accomplished it. We win, guys. We ended up winning Roll for Hero. That's how you do it. Stringer, that concept sounds like Nemetrix. Oh yeah, you're not entirely wrong, because that is like the Nemesis Matrix. The Nemetrix. It's the evil variation of the Omnitrix, is what has happened. Is what it is there. I see what you're saying there. But funnily enough, I actually had this idea of taking the exact concept of Ben 10, but tying it to the original roots of a DC comic concept called Dial H for Hero. So it was by sheer coincidence, because the guys at Man of Action had no idea that the comic book series Dial H for Hero was a thing. They had no idea about it. But I had this idea for a cool like cartoon or a comic book concept called Speed Dial. And it's basically like Ben 10, but it's done with the phone. And if anyone knows like the more modern renditions of Dial H for Hero, it's either like this strange magical telephone, or it's like a telephone dial, the one that you have to spin and it has to go all the way back kind of a thing. Yeah, it's one of those old ones. So the main character would actually like try to, like in the older comics, if you dialed HERO, it would turn you into a hero. In the newer comic, it's more like the red phone, like what Batman uses for the Adam West series. And it puts you in a little telephone box like how Superman does, turning you into a random superhero. Anyways, have you seen Stranger Things season 5? No, I have not. And honestly, I don't know if I really want to. No hate to the cast or to anything like that. Just, for me, it kind of died off. The love for it just kind of just faded for me. Maybe if I ever get into that mood, probably. Oh, that is a good one. Comic book. All right, let me see. Funny enough, Ben 10 was supposed to be an X-Men. Interesting. Because, I mean, those guys did relatively work for some comic companies. I think they worked for Marvel, Man of Action. Rotary. Yeah, that's the Rotary film. Yep, that was the concept. So my concept for a show would be called Speed Dial. And you guys would actually follow a kid by the name of Max Dialton and his overall adventures. And he gets this strange interdimensional phone. And it turns out it just has a bunch of these little apps or whatever. And if he taps on one of those apps, all of a sudden it turns into, like, he'll transform into the said, hero or whatever. Again, I haven't fully worked out the details, but it's like Ben 10, but with proper superheroes instead of aliens, which probably wouldn't be as iconic. All right, would have clustered 6 of the AIs, split them into 2 groups, which rotate for different kinds of range, sight, like tentacle twisted together, 2 arms mixed, the 7th tentacle and eye on the head. Oh, that's a pretty cool concept. See, that is actually cool. That's actually what I was kind of thinking about a little bit with the with the 4 arms. Like maybe, you know, her arms can kind of like, I like the idea of like them twisting together and making like different densities. So she needs to, you know, look like someone who's muscular. She can wrap both of her arms around and then, you know, make like a bigger arm. Or maybe she can probably put her, you know, other arms like wrapping around her body, giving her more of an hourglass figure. That's pretty cool. Okay. But then also the concept of the cluster of the 6 eyes, split them into 2 groups. Like, you know, I can see kind of like almost like a weird binocular effect where like she has like, you know, 3 different kinds of eyes for like, you know, pair of 6, but like 3 different kinds. So one for far range, close range, and then her average. That would be a really cool one. There was an old concept for Ben 10 with the watch turns into yeah, that's basically what I wanted to do. You're not wrong, Benjamin, because the old concept was him turning into straight up superheroes. And for me, that's kind of like what I would have done. But instead of the watch, I would have done it with like a typical phone or something like that. Or make it a Kamen Rider series, isn't, you know, make the Kamen Rider belt look like a little telephone. You know, it's like time to dial up a hero and then just puts it down, transforms. Who knows? Exactly. I love hearing out the H dial, the Nematrix. Man, I miss the good old days of classic comic shows and comics. Yes, like binoculars. Okay, so then like if I had to redo the character again, I would then do like the 6 binocular kind of a thing. That would be cool. So does the Drudge have like claws like Wolverine or Saber? Okay, so if you're looking at the little blue thing right over here, that's actually just the character waving his tentacle hand. It's not really a claw or anything like that. I don't even think they have that kind of a situation that we ended up rolling up. You know, because they have electromagnetic organs. So again, I'm thinking like with electromagnetic organs that they're probably some kind of an alien that's very, very squid based. Again, squids don't, to my knowledge, they don't have anything, you know, bone related, unless you're probably talking about their beak that they have and as their mouth or whatever. But the idea of them having that kind of like, you know, neuro link to their whole body, but they happen to have a more humanoid shape, that's something that we can really look into. Imagine the concept you just thought up with the phone, but also an evil version of it. Oh yeah, and then you could come up with different phone case designs, or like probably different types of screensavers, or maybe if the phone got cracked, it would merge 2 heroes, kind of like how it did in that one Ben 10 episode where like he took off the simple little ring around the watch, but it was able to like merge 2 aliens together, like Diamond Head and Gray Matter, and you know, like I forgot, it was like Heat Blast and one other character. I forgot which one it was. And made a underscale translucent to show the glowing electromagnetic organs, tempting the enemy to attack by fake organs, keeping the real ones in. Oh, look at you, Dragon. You think that you're better than me? How dare you? It would be funny if you rolled up a hero that you just thought of in the series. Honestly, that would actually be a really fun series to dive into. Like we just rolled up a bunch of random heroes, but those are like the heroes for speed dial, the phone-based hero concept. Or like I said, I wouldn't even mind turning that into a Kamen Rider like series where maybe they dial up a specific number, they put their phone onto the belt, and then they transform into, you know, a more armored suit rendition of that kind of character. So the Drudge, all right, let me see. So the Drudge can become living EMPs because of their electrical organs. You know, that's probably not a bad, you know what? That could be the case. They're very electrical based. They're very, you know, very interesting like that. The belt is just a whole phone and dial, and take the phone off the receiver and hold it to the ear with your hand and shout out Henshin. Honestly, that's kind of what I'm thinking, you know, like just kind of like that would be so hilarious. Honestly, you see, that's where it's really different because I can go the Ben 10 route and do like a typical smartphone type of situation, or I could go the full blown Kamen Rider effect and just do like the typical phone with the rotary dial on it, and like, you know, be like time to call up a hero, you know, dial up the character and then hit the phone down, or maybe, or if anything, dial it up, pick it up, Henshin, transform, but you get to transform into a different type of suit of armor. That would be really cool. Heat Blast plus Ripjaws, but also there were 4 arms Stinkfly, and yeah, you're not wrong. That episode where they combined the aliens together, it's not a bad idea. Uncle E, I've been trying to tell you this earlier. Actually, I mean, thank you for telling me now. It's now made to clear to me, and I'm so happy about that. Oh man, I'm having a blast here, guys. But hey, while I got you all here on this stream, I know that since there's nobody else around here, might as well kind of give you all some fun little updates as to some things I'm going to be doing for the channel, at least on my channel. For one, definitely going to pick up back onto some of the public domain stuff. I got a few thumbnails already made. Like I said, I'm drawing the Black Terror, redesigning him. So that's going to be called either the Heroes of Gold or just the simple, just public domain redesign series, just taking classic public domain characters and just redesigning them for what they should be. So can the Drudge fly on electric in the air? That depends. Again, I feel like we would have to ask T.S. Luther this because he's the guy who designed his rendition of the alien, and I decided to just go with a whole different concept. But real quick to kind of shout out a few of the other things I have going on. So I'm going to do the public domain redesign series. I'm going to start the Ultra Value series where I'm making 100% knockoff characters of like Marvel, DC, whatever, all in good fun, or in the off chance that I'll ever use it for a comic. At least I'll, again, it's like tongue-in-cheek, very fun kind of stuff. I also happen to have a few other ideas I want to mention. The Ultra Comics, not Ultra Squadron stuff. It's like my own rendition of the Power Rangers, something that I want to work on at some point. And I mean, obviously, since we're talking about the speed dial thing, this would probably be my first Kamen Rider concept if I ever decide to go with that. Imagine a villain had speed dial's powers, like the Albedo situation for the Nemetrix situation. Okay. See, that's what I like. I actually like this idea of like, there are different phone users and they go like obviously like multiversal style. I could see this being like a Ben 10 omniverse type situation where they dive into different universes, probably having to come across different cell phone users or cell users or something like that. And it's not like just the main character of Maxwell Dialton. It could also be maybe like his best friend instead of him, or his crush actually having the device instead of him, or something like that. Like I can see that becoming a really interesting concept, But then also, what would the villains be for that entire show? Would it be other people that have phones, or would it be monsters? Would it be aliens? Would it be someone trying to get the interdimensional phone? Would it be a former hero concept that was once in the phone and now is made free? These are the real questions that we need to ask if we're going to make speed dial into a cool concept. But outside of that, though, I feel like I've been yapping for way too long. But hold on a second. What do we got going on here? That's a brilliant idea. What if the phones could just have a feature that could the omniverse style where the characters have okay. It's a brilliant idea. What if the phones could just have a feature that could call the omniverse? I'm sorry, because that part's kind of confusing me. The way that either I'm not reading that correctly or I'm just horrifically dyslexic. Sweet. I would probably try to make my own powers with the Dial H phone. It's not even a bad idea. Honestly, I would want to make a whole would you guys want to see a concept corner video about that? I only did a concept corner for Kaiju food truck hunters or food truck Kaiju hunters, but would you guys ever want to see like a concept corner for speed dial? It's like a Ben 10 but more phone acquainted. Would you want it to be more of a Kamen Rider thing? Would you want it to be more like a Pepper Ben 10 knockoff? Maybe speed dial's villains could be characters who are heroes made in the 20s but were rejected from the phone system. Oh, that's interesting. That's a pretty interesting concept right there. What do I got going on over here? Oh man. Ooh, what's it called? Have you checked out Kamen Rider? No, unfortunately, I have not checked out many other Kamen Riders out there. I have not really made the efforts to watch a lot of that. Would be interesting to see Concept Corner for that. Okay, not too bad. Dial on Comics, 100. Thank you so much for that. All right. Well, I feel like I've been kind of holding y'all hostage for a bit too long, but I would love to see the Concept Corner about that. All right. Other than that, guys, I had a blast. I hope you guys had a lot of fun too. This is obviously the character that we were able to draw for, this session of Roll for Hero. I know it wasn't the, crazy cool cracked out thing it was meant to be. Again, there's a lot of screw-ups, but it is what it is. Hey, it wouldn't be a Roll for Hero show if things went according to plan. Like, come on. How could that ever be? Let's see. Also, wouldn't Speed Dial be Kamen Rider meets Ben 10? Honestly, based off of everything I was talking about at that point, it might as well be. But that depends on how that all works out. I mean, what if it was actually more of a dispatch situation? But I feel like, let me see what we got. It's the current airing one on YouTube. I'll be sure to check that out at some point. I'm so sorry, guys. It has been close to, well, it's been 2 hours since we have been streaming this entire thing. I have had a blast. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching this entire stream. So, of course, I'm going to be ending off this entire thing on that note. Just let me end this whole thing. I'm sorry. This is not my top tier A game. I'm not usually like this. Y'all know how I'm usually like. So anyways, to my fellow weirdos out there, make sure to follow these 3 simple rules. Make sure to stay awesome, make sure to stay weird, and always keep life to the easiest. And always remember that art inspires all, but you can inspire more. And of course, everyone out there, never forget to, of course, stay ultra. You know, and even if you were to have like a prompt of 10 different things, right? Like say if you had one prompt of like, oh, like here's 10 different personality traits, here's 10 different superpowers, here's 10 different drawbacks.
I like coming up with random list of powers and then just see what I come up with.
Imagine rolling just those things every single time. It's always going to vary. You know, the possibility of that happening is again like a 1 in 10 chance, but it's like it shows that there's
always something else cool right around the corner that we can come up with, because there's no end to the prompts. There's no end to what we can roll up.
We're going to be officially rolling for superpowers. This is usually the make or break.